Hello and welcome back to episode 6 of Rule the Waves, Japanese Turret Farmer Edition with not yet enough turrets. Last time we were conducting our surprise attack on the harbor that Great Britain has in Northeast Asia. We got one battleship, 15.5 kilotons, a legacy ship though, a legacy armored cruiser, bunch of destroyers, and surprisingly one submarine, which I did not catch when that occurred during that episode. I have also managed to install a new pop filter. Hopefully my audio is coming through a bit better. And we will now continue adjusting our intel efforts to reflect who we're at war with now. Oh, and I may have a touch of a cold, so you may hear me clearing my throat. But I will try to aim away from the microphone so that it does not blow your eardrums. Our battleships are laid up in repairs right now from the surprise attack. We still have the advantage. Great Britain has quite a few armored cruisers in Southeast Asia, though. We have a bit of an uphill battle going. Great Britain has 4 battleships now, already in service. A bunch of ships currently being built, including battle cruisers, which we are barely behind them on. 14 pre-dreadnoughts, 19 armored cruisers to our 5, 28 light cruisers to our 0, and 51 destroyers to our 30. So we have our work cut out for us. And no real indication of when we're going to be... Oh, nope. That gives us an idea of when they'll be built. Alright, we're going to be seeing some of these. At least 2 of them in this war. Probably 3 more beyond that for 5 more heavy capital ships. It's going to be interesting, especially since ours are nearly 2 years away. And I need to set up the coastal patrol fulfillment. Get all of our legacy destroyers to do that. That's why I built them, and why they have the special designation, so I can find them easily. And I think I will put 2 of our new destroyers in Southeast Asia. I don't see anything else that I'm forgetting at this time, so time to advance a turn and see what the next month brings us. Okay, yep, the raiders I was expecting, only 2, 1 from subs. Enemy coastal raid, looking forward to this, and they took it. Hard part's going to be finding them. Let's see, we got our two destroyers. Hopefully they only brought their destroyers. Switch to ultra fast and move forward till we get into a combat. Not too confident on this one. These are our new destroyers, which are barely different from our legacy ones. I haven't looked at British destroyers yet. Okay, so they're up here next to South Korea. And they are attacking a merchant. See if we can increase speed, get there a little bit faster. I have doubts that we'll see them again, as the fall of nighttime is going to make it really easy to pass by each other without catching a thing. If that's the case, I may speed through this in the post-production. Alright, we're down to 50% fuel. Not that that's usually a concern. Actually, we weren't too far off. They only got the one, which is what they needed, so that netted them some points. That'll look good for their combat. Oh, looks like they got caught up. It was a pair of light cruisers. That many guns, our destroyers would have stood no chance. Unless they stumbled upon them in the middle of the night. So that actually worked out for us. I think that's the best we could have hoped for. Fortunately, that's the only combat we get to see that round. And they have actually not pulled in any additional ships. Do they have any in India? Nope. None in the South Pacific. A little bit in the North American West Coast, but we're going to stay in the zones where our ships can repair if they get damaged. I can't afford to lose any significant ships in a neutral port in turn for the rest of the war. That would be very bad. That's why the problems of framing, explosive sweeps, new guns. And they only sank one merchant this time. They did move in a lot of additional ships. Coastal raid, medium. Hopefully we can get our armored cruisers this time. Excellent. That's a fight I don't mind. Again, the hard part is finding them, though. Do we have... That's what I was looking for. Take a peek, see how our armored cruisers match up to theirs. Oop. No control of the ships while it's in there. Wrong one again. So, what do they have? They have the Niobe class. What does our design look like again? 4 9-inch, 16 5-inch, 12 3-inch, 3.5-inch belt. And we're looking at theirs being slower, but more heavily armed and armored. This one I wouldn't mind fighting. Andromeda. And Fridays, definitely dangerous. Suitledge, also dangerous. Can't see a Bedford. That's still dangerous because of those 8-inch secondaries. Lighter belt though. 12,000 tons. This looks almost like ours except single primaries with a 5.5-inch belt. It's looking sketchy. Not even going to sugarcoat that one. Our heavy cruisers are not significantly better than theirs and may even be inferior, arguably. In fact, I'm going to say so. Maybe as we get some additional armor piercing capabilities or tech, we may be able to. Oh, so they had the light cruisers again. That would have been alright. 6-inch. So if we close to the 5,000 yard bracket, we'd be able to penetrate their armor. The problem is they have heavy batteries just like we do, except they're either heavier or more numerous on most of their armored cruisers. Alright, that'll help balance things out. And not looking too scary yet. But they've got a few rounds to come around. I'm going to take a look at the almanac. What do they have for their battleships? Yeah. I'm going to suggest we end this now. This is an ill-fated fight. I've fought it before, but I had better designs at the time. I think it was earlier, so there were no battleships yet. We're talking like 1903. The UK gets pretty scary very early on, about 1905 and on, because they use all of that extra funding that they get to build a bunch of battleships, or dreadnoughts really. And once those get tied up, then they kind of, unless you're fighting them and sinking a lot of their older legacy equipment, they get a little bit weaker in the like 1915 era. So I will take the easy out on that. And depending on how this goes, I may skip through parts of this interwar period. Not exactly the most interesting. But we're going to bump up things, see if we can't fight Russia, France, or Germany. US kind of rising too, so I don't think they're very threatening yet usually, but they would be threatening enough. Not much for that month. Halt the production on one of those. Alright, island declared independence. Oh, this is an excellent opportunity because we can really tailor the next fight to be who we want to fight. And I'm going to point the finger at France, of course. Periscope, not too concerned. No exciting tech right now. None that month. US putting in a battleship. Weight savings on machinery. More ships commissioned. And this is what I was talking about with the railroad event earlier on. You'll get more of these events. And maybe some of it happens behind the scenes. I'm not that familiar with what goes on under the hood in this game. And doing the railroad event the way we did, it's a lot better for your long-term funding because of events like this. Okay, the armored cruiser Dunkirk. Yeah, and that's looking pretty difficult for our own armored cruisers as well, for the same reasons the British ones are. Alright. Unknown nation. Oh, that's unfortunate. Would have been nice if we had... Oh, yes, please. 4 centerline turrets. I don't care that we went into the red for that. That is a great thing to be getting at this point. Oh, and some of our stuff is starting to get old enough that it'll get scrapped soon. I might not mind that with the destroyers, but we really don't have the money to replace them right now. So I may... Let's see what we can do. Probably not worth it, but I gotta see. Oh yeah, that's a lot. I'm not sure I want to go that route. Home to design. Leave it as is. Nothing really to change. Just put just refit them for a midlife extension, so to speak. We'll see if we can't do that to all of them. Rebuild ship. And rebuild ship. Now wait for at least one of the battlecruisers to come off the lines to start refitting these. I may even just scrap these legacy pre-dreadnoughts, start building proper battleships. I don't really want to fight the... Oh, but I'll also prestige. I never like doing that, but uphill battle with the US would be very difficult right now. A bunch of destroyers finishing their reconstruction, and they'll be good to go for another 10 years. Ooh. I will take that. Any weight savings. Caustic fire. Could be an opportunity to get us a proper turret farm earlier on. And start squeezing more turrets onto those, since we have 4 centerline but not 5+ yet. Wait on the refits for these. And let's see what it's going to look like if we upgrade these. We leave them $1.25 million. That's 3.6, 7.2 million. They're still pretty threatening. Have okay speed. Have the ridiculous torpedo armament I put into them. I'm thinking this is okay. And we can do 2 at a time with our current funding level. Although I think I'll go ahead and just get all of them in there and done with while tensions are low. Actually, our monthly balance is doing nicely with that. Not too bad at all. Battlecruiser Lexington. Looking forward to that becoming a carrier on Friday. Although that'll be a different game. Shipbuilding, which I should probably invest in that again. 3.2, yeah. I discovered I really don't want to fight the US. I've made that decision. I'm not turning around on it. There is our first battlecruiser coming off the slips. More hull savings. I want to get all these battlecruisers finished. Reliable delay fuses, absolutely. In real life, those reliable delay fuses involved very, very small manufacturing, very fine manufacturing of a few different kinds of fuses, kind of get them to be reliably fired under the forces of naval gun Cs, especially heavier ones, and the shock of the impact, and still be able to trigger without pre-detonating or not detonating at all. I'm trying to remember a little bit more about it, but I'm a little fuzzy on that. But there were a couple of different successful designs that came up during this time period, and some suboptimal ones that you saw the effects of in the Battle of Jutland during World War One. But again, I'm not going to give too much detail on that. It's not quite something I'm well versed on. So, uprising in a Chinese, absolutely a battleship. Oh, and that worked out well. It increased tensions with the UK, but we were pretty low to begin with, and got Germany and France, bringing France up to being likely to be the next war, barring an unforeseen event. Cruisers finishing up. Coastal submarine, no. We'll develop it on our own. I'm in no rush. Private shipbuilding. We'll get a look at the Lexington. 10-13, 14-6, inch guns. Reasonable belt for a battle cruiser. 25 knots, that's a good speed. Well, that's a fairly decent screen formation for destroyers. Especially with the 900-ton destroyers we can do now. I might want to look at a new class. Triple turrets, yes please. They'll be the early ones, they'll be a little unreliable, but it's a way to squeeze some more barrels onto the ship. I think we can resume production of the last battlecruiser. And another boost. Very welcome. Increased shell damage. Rangefinders, absolutely. New docks are completed. Mission to new ship. Russians want to buy triple turrets. I can afford to be stingy right now. Torpedo production, that'll make our next capital ship a little bit safer. Especially with how aggressive we've been so far in this campaign. Just so you can see kind of what these options do. I'm absolutely going to condemn it. We definitely want to encourage a war with France at this point. And I'm going to adjust our intelligence efforts to reflect that. And we got a nice tidy sum, but I don't want to start it prematurely. Because any new class I build, I want to build multiple at the same time. Of course. Don't like the drop in the budget, but it is what it is. I'll take the extra prestige to make up for the loss from being meek with the US. Prevent them from getting boosted up into this danger zone. Germany. Security. Absolutely. I wouldn't mind going to war with Germany, but I'll take that small benefit that you get from having them allied to you during a war period. I'm just not going to sell any technology right now. High quality 12-inch guns. I am glad we waited on designing that new class. Oil in Libya. Hull construction, weight savings. One of the major has... Oh yeah, strong arms industry, for sure. Unfortunately, it didn't really go into France, it went into Russia. Light cruiser armor configuration, so we can get rid of the legacy armoring system for light cruisers. which if I show you real quick, that's this protected cruiser design, which has some weak points kind of built in, regardless of what you put into the armor values. It has a chance of kind of being a weaker section, whereas the slope deck and the flat deck armoring schemes, they get a lot better protection with fewer weak points, so to speak, game mechanics wise. Superimposed X, yes. Wait, buying the rights, no. You can figure that out on your own. Definitely not. I'm not going to give away AP. We've got an advantage in that, and I don't want to give it up anytime soon. I'm looking at the research, liking what I'm seeing. We got those high quality 12-inch guns. Could wait for 13s, but they'll be low quality. We've got a nice reserve of 50 million right now. We could design and build 2 capital ships. I think probably another battle cruiser. That already looks just fine as is. See if we can get something kind of funky going here. Let's... No. We'll go with... I was thinking of doing the triple turret, but we don't have the advanced triple turrets. It might be more beneficial to have some of the guns be a little bit unreliable, and some of the cross-firing guns to be a little bit more reliable. Oh, really? That's an aft center line. Get rid of that, replace it with the superimposed. That way we get 3 turrets on any side and any reasonable angle. I like to have more rounds. I like to overload this, and then I'll drop it down as I start squeezing in more stuff. So drop this down to a double turret. Looking at EE being the forward turrets. Put it in a D. And then FG. G would be the other side. Does that work? It does. Looks a little awkward with that one, but let's see if we can move that forward triple. See if we're rear firing on top of the conning tower. Yeah, that's a little silly. Look for it here. Maybe just put it dead midships. I'll move the funnel. I believe that is the second one. But there almost makes sense. Oh, that's not quite cross-firing. It needs to be, that's right. For cross-firing turrets, you need to have not this forward one. It needs to be the complement. Add FG, H would be the other one. No. H, I, J. The double. And that would be the complement. I don't think you can set cross-firing for these more forward and rear facing wing turrets, or the ones that are dead amidships, because the complement is the other one to balance out the ship, is the other amidships turret. So they can't really shoot through each other. I don't mind a lot of secondary 5-inch. See what the armor value, penetration wise, 5-inch has 3 inches. Protection would be self-immune. which I'm not even really concerned about that. Bump us up to our 12-inch, which has, alright, so that would be full protection from those guns. And you see we're starting to get enough range into our guns that deck is becoming a lot more important. In the interest of the title of the series though, I'm going to drop a lot of this armor down to 2 inches. I will try to armor the conning tower decently. Will try to armor the turrets decently, including the turret top. Then I'm going to start dropping. Oh, that is way heavier than our yards. I hadn't even looked at that. So we're way overloaded. Torpedo defense is a must-have. Definitely can do the flat deck. That'll save us 200 tons. Nothing special. Hesitant to do speed, but we're really strapped for weight allowance. I am going to leave 2 underwater torpedo tubes. I like to have the range circle, kind of get a feel for how far they are, and they do come in handy once in a while. Okay, that's a ridiculously low amount of armor. I'm not really caring. I don't think that'll be a battle cruiser anymore. Yeah. Need it. What is illegal about it? Oh, right. Needs to be 2.5. Yep. It's Q, R, or V, so we need to get rid of the midships one. Oh, now it messed up the outline. I don't really feel like redrawing all that. So I'm just going to get another one that's about the right size. Then we can start adding these in manually. So we wanted the double turret, G, and J, was it? No. Yes. G and J. So we'll have to move those funnels. I might just redesign this until I get a superstructure that makes sense. I really don't want to draw it myself. Or I might go to Battleship and see if that'll draw something a little bit more reasonable. There we go. Then we can just make it a battle cruiser. We'll leave it a battleship. So double turret, G and J, cross deck, perfect. No midships turret, but we can put the forward, the aft, and then we can put the aft center line superimposed, which that doesn't interfere. No. And that one, it should interfere, but it doesn't, and it looks silly. I'm not doing it. I find that acceptable. It'd be better if it was super firing, because it would make sense. It's on top of the superstructure, with this being kind of the conning tower. But I don't mind that at all. Drop these to 5s. 24 of the 5-inch secondaries. We've got our torpedo defense. We've got our flat deck on top. Range is reasonable. Lower the engine priority. We don't have access to oil yet. I want the splinter guard for all around. We'll bring this down to an absolute minimum. Oh, this is painful. That's starting to get doable though. Nope, I did want at least one. Still necked out. I don't mind that a little bit though. The outline of the ship kind of sticking off ever so slightly. In game, I'm not going to notice. See if we can get this up. Comes a battle cruiser. URV. I need the heavier aft superimposed. Still keeps us within, but we're low on ammo. But we haven't reduced the belt yet. So let's get this up to a reasonable level. I'm really surprised. I feel like this one fit a lot better, but I haven't quite gotten through everything. Right, because I didn't have all of the turret armor. So let's see, what would it take to get this to 11? And conning tower to 12. I think that's reducing our ammo too much. We at least be heavy cruiser immune. That one for sure. It was 7. 180 rounds. We tweak this up enough. How does this work suddenly? What am I missing? Oh, I didn't bump up the turret weight again. We can get away with 7.5. 180 rounds. That many guns, I'm liking that. Yeah, 8. Set 165. We are using the best fire control. Don't like the engine priority. Really prefer that normal. But it's not too much heavier. I think that's a little bit low on ammo. That is a lot of turrets though. Legal. Oh, 2.5. Keep forgetting about that. I think we're gonna have to reduce this. I don't want to reduce ammo any lower than where it was at. That's all looking good. I'm really liking the look of the ship. That's 12, 14, 16 barrels. 12-inch. It's a little bit low. High quality though. She's reasonably fast. I would like to get her faster, and she's got secondary guns to fight off smaller ships. The turret armor could be better, but this is Rule the Wave Japanese Turret Farmer Edition, and I wanted to actually get to turret farming. Alright. She is designed. I'm going to immediately start producing 2 of them. With that, we can start. Oh, excellent. That'll make the next destroyer a lot better. So I'm glad we went with the capital ships, not the destroyers. You know what? We will take it for if and when we get access. What are we looking at? They have it down in Burma, Sumatra, which I think is here. Is it? No, that's not where I wanted. Yes. Burma, Sumatra. That's what we're looking at for holdings down in Southeast Asia. The rising threat from France persuades the Parliament to authorize additional funding for the Navy. Oh, national hero. Easy. Separate scouting force with heavy ships. That's beneficial. Medium wing. No, we're fine. More armor savings. In an uprising in a Chinese province in the focus of great power colonial ambitions, we shall send a battleship. Ooh. And with that, and looking at the time, I think this is an optimal time to call an end to this episode, because I do not want 2 episodes that I have to chop into 2 twice in a row. So we started the episode at war with the UK in 1909 December, if I remember correctly. We wrapped that up pretty quickly. Very pleased with the way that turned out. We advanced a couple years. We got our new battlecruiser designed, a proper turret farm at least. A lot more to go to get more barrels on this. I think the goal is to get up to 28 barrels. I don't know if we'll get there before 1925 though. And I'm planning on ending at 1925. Possibly sooner. Kind of depends on how things work out. And we have appropriately gotten France up to a high level of tension. I imagine we'll be at war with them possibly within 1 month of starting the next episode. So, thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure. I hope to see you next time. Take care.